Hello everyone, back tuning into today's first video. So we're just going to have a quick look at what's happening in the Gulf of Mexico over the next few days. We've got a tropical disturbance, tropical depression at the moment over Mexico. It's going to drift northwards into the Gulf of Mexico, and we may well see this becoming a very significant storm, probably a tropical storm. Can't rule out the potential for a hurricane as it drifts northwards through the Gulf of Mexico, and it could impact the Gulf Coast of the United States in a few days' time. So I want to take you very quickly through the overnight model runs of the GFS, the GM, and also the ECMWF, just to show you what the latest guidance is on this disturbance area. So if you're enjoying the content on the channel at the moment, then please can you like, share and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you think about this. So we're at the National Hurricane Center. This is a disturbance area just here, or the disturbance area that we're just in just here. It's a tropical depression. Tropical Depression 3 is giving maximum sustained winds at the moment of 35 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 1003 millibars. So this is the disturbance area just here, and this is the latest advisories that they're giving about this system. So it's causing deadly flooding, which already occurred in Guatemala and El Salvador. The depression is expected to bring heavy rainfall to portions of southern Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras and El Salvador, with life-threatening flash flooding and mudslides in places. Tropical storm conditions are expected along the coast of Mexico, where a tropical storm warning is in effect. The system is forecast to begin moving northward across the Gulf of Mexico later this week. It's too soon to specify the location and timing of any potential impacts along the US Gulf Coast, but people there should keep an eye on the latest developments and have a hurricane plan in place. So let's see if we can find the track of this storm, the forecast track of it. So we want to go to warnings and cone static images. And so there we see it. It's going to push northwards by the look of it into the Gulf of Mexico. That's where it's forecast to be as we go into the coming weekend, the central part of the Gulf of Mexico as a tropical storm. You see how it is generally pushing northwards through the week into the weekend, getting ever closer towards the US Gulf Coast. So this is the overnight GFS run. This is a midnight GFS run. We're at westcentral.de for this. So if we come down to the very bottom of the chart, that's the disturbance area just there, the tropical depression. Let's see what the GFS is forecasting this to do. So we're going to run on in 24-hourly steps with this. So that's a situation tomorrow, Wednesday, very little change. If we go through to Thursday, again, very little change. So for several days, you're going to be sitting over like Mexico and Guatemala and most sort of areas, producing a lot of heavy rain. It's going to take a little while for this system to start moving. Eventually, it does start to move as we go into the weekend. This is Saturday. We see that the system is just beginning to push northwards into the Gulf of Mexico. As we go through into Sunday, it starts to accelerate and drift northwards towards the US Gulf Coast as probably a tropical storm by this point. And then it hits the US Gulf Coast just here, so generally just to the east of Texas. It's moving northwards out of the Gulf of Mexico onto the US Gulf Coast. And then it drifts inland, moves in towards eastern parts of Texas there as we go through Tuesday. So it looks like Sunday to Tuesday is a period at the moment where there may be an impact with this system along the US Gulf Coast. Probably a tropical storm producing copious amounts of rain, and no doubt very strong winds along those Gulf coasts as well. I want to show you the GM next. So this is what the GM midnight run is showing. Again, we see a system well to the south of the US Gulf Coast at the moment. It's not really until we move in towards the end of the week and the weekend that the system starts. There it is on Saturday, pushing northwards into the Gulf of Mexico. And then that carries on pushing northwards as we go through the weekend. This is Sunday, heading up towards the US Gulf Coast just here. And giving an impact to the US Gulf Coast as we go into Monday. Now, at the moment, these two models want this to be just slightly to the east of the state of Texas. But nevertheless, this could be further eastwards of this. It could be further westwards of this. So don't take the area too literally. It's much too far away to have any confidence in the track of this system. But it certainly looks like there could be an impact sometime in the weekend, early next week, with this potential tropical storm, or maybe even a hurricane as it moves onto the US Gulf Coast. The last model I'll show you is the ECMWF. And again, we see that the system is down there at the moment, and that's where it stays for the next couple of days. As we move through into Saturday, that's when it starts to drift northwards. And of course, as it comes up over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, it will start to pick up energy as well. The ECM then pushes this further north into Sunday. This looks like a more significant feature with the ECM. That's a tropical storm, possibly a hurricane, I would have thought. It looks like a very tightly compacted system there, moving northwards out of or through the Gulf of Mexico as we go through the weekend. And yes, direct impact there on the US Gulf Coast as we go from Sunday into Monday, looking at a very, very significant impact indeed. And then into Tuesday, it carries on pushing northwards through the eastern part of Texas. And as it comes inland, of course, it will go into a post-tropical depression. But it will still take very heavy rain northwards with it. So we're going to keep an eye on this. It looks like something quite significant could be on the way for the Gulf Coast as we go through the weekend into the early part of next week. So it looks like any time from around Sunday, Monday, there could be quite a significant impact here from this system. Either a tropical storm, most likely a tropical storm given how early it is in the season. I think the ECM probably hints that it could become a hurricane though. So we do need to keep a very close eye on it. Quite a significant impact could be on the way for some parts of the Gulf Coast of the United States. And yeah, it's just ongoing sort of confirmation of what we already suspect, that this is going to be a very active tropical storm and hurricane season. We're expecting a big season. We've had 2 tropical storms so far before we even started the season. And of course, we are now into the official beginning of this season. Started yesterday officially, but we had 2 tropical storms before that. We're expecting a big season. This is probably further confirmation of what we already suspect about this tropical storm and hurricane season. So be keeping a very close eye on it. If you want to see more videos about this on the channel, then please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to give a like on the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel. You'll be notified when we're releasing content like this in the future. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.